Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another Battle to the Death for you. Today we have a three-way. We have the Venerable Ontario Rat Model 1 in D2 versus the Bestech Paladin and the newcomer, the Civivi Praxis. This is a battle you guys have all asked for. You asked for it. I know there's going to be a whole lot of comments on this down below. I think a couple of the category wins are going to be a bit controversial to some people. But you asked for it. I'm giving my opinion. Here we go. This works the same way as it always does. You have 7 different categories: design and aesthetics, quality, blade, ergonomics, carry, deployment, and value. At the end, we're going to total them up, pick a first, second, third. Each category, first place gets 3 points, second place gets 2, third place gets 1. Pretty easy to figure out. You guys can go check my math at the end if you want to be that guy. But I'm pretty sure I got it all right. 3 very, just like good, hard-working, fairly large knives. In 2 of them in D2, 1 in 9CR18 MOV, which is a fairly newcomer to the steel war, at least in folding. It's just started to really become a thing, mostly with Civivi. We'll talk a lot more about that as we go on. But all 3 of these knives, pretty close in size, pretty close in design purposes, pretty close in price. Let's talk about each one individually, give some stats, and then we will move on. Let's start out with the Ontario Rat. We'll do age before beauty here. We have an overall length of 8.625 inches. You have a blade length of 3.62 inches, blade thickness 0.11 inches, handle thickness 0.51, and a weight of, according to my scales, dead on 5 ounces, and a price of $39.95. This is a very popular model for Ontario, has been for a very long time. It's a pretty popular knife, period, for good reason. It's just a great, well-designed, hard-working knife. Was designed primarily for outdoor type activities, but it works just as a really awesome EDC. It's been kind of one of those knives that you need to get for a reason. It's been that way for a long time. If you're kind of a knife nerd, there's certain knives you need to have. You know, a 940, a PM2, and a Rat Model 1. It's a big bruiser, but it's a very, very well designed big bruiser, and loved for good reason. All right, next let's pick the next. This is also a new for 2018, but it came out a little while ago. So we'll pick the next oldest. We have the Bestech Paladin with an overall length of 8.4 inches, blade length of 3.625, blade thickness a little bit thicker at 0.13 inches, handle thickness also a little bit thicker at 0.58 inches, but lighter than the Rat at 4.5 ounces. And a price of, this is the most expensive one on the group, $52. An excellently designed knife. It's one of my favorite budget knives of 2018, if you consider $52 to be budget, which I guess I kind of do. It's kind of a bit of a mishmash of the Bestech Kendo and the Bestech Paladin. I like both of those knives. I really like the blade shape on this much more than the Paladin, or maybe much more than the Scimitar. I'm sorry, I think I said Paladin earlier. It's a mismatch between the Kendo and the Scimitar. This is a bit more similar in blade shape to the Scimitar than the Kendo, but it doesn't have quite as much of a Persian sweep, and I like the look of it a whole lot. It's still that same solid, ceramic ball bearing, the ceramic detent you'd expect from a Bestech. $52, very well made, just another good hard use knife. Now let's pull up lastly the newcomer, the Civivi Praxis. I know a lot of you guys are big fans of this, judging by the number of views my review of it got. You're looking at an overall length of 8.4 inches. You have a blade length of 3.75 inches. Blade thickness, very thin again, 0.11 inches. Handle thickness of 0.51. Weight of 4.4 ounces. And a price of just $42.50, so barely much more than the Rat. This is a new line from Wii. This is made in the same factory as the genuine, more expensive Wiis, much more expensive Wiis, and it shows. It's an extremely well-made knife. They made the unique choice of going to 9CR18 MOV steel, which is not a steel you see a whole lot in folding knives, but it's a very, very good steel. I'm perfectly fine with it in my experience and what other people have done with more extensive testing than me. It's probably a little better than VG10, more like 14C28N kind of steel. But in this price range, as you can see from the other two, and I could have thrown in 3 or 4 more, in this price range, this $40 to $50 some price range, mostly you're going to ball bearings, flipper, D2. We went a bit outside the box with the Civivi line. They went to this steel, which still has excellent edge retention, maybe not quite what D2 does, but it's stainless and much easier to sharpen. I like that. Some people have not, but I really like it. I've gotten a couple of people who snap and are like, nah, it's not D2, it's not worth it. I think it's a really good steel for this price. Very, very cool knife. And I'm glad to see somebody doing something a little bit different. All right, let's get into our scoreable categories here. I'll try to get all these back on. These are big knives. I probably should have zoomed the camera out a bit more, but alas, I did not. Okay. First category is design and aesthetics. Yeah, this one was not super easy. I'm gonna have to give last place to the Rat. It looks fine. There's nothing objectionable about the design of it, but maybe it's just fatigue that we've seen it a whole lot. And this always has been kind of weird. The way the ramp pops up like that, it's always been a bit odd. Because you're getting, if it came straight out, the blade would be lower. So you're getting more of that in the way. I don't object to the look of it at all, especially all 3 of these come in multiple colors and stuff, so I'm going to call that all even. Just going to judge the ones I have here. But yeah, I got to give last place, not by a lot, but to the Rat. And again, it might just be fatigue of looking at it. Second place, I'm going to call the Praxis. I personally really like the look of it, but this very tall blade, you've got, the little finger grooves and stuff, and especially these gold liners. Not everyone's going to love it. I really like it on this color, but unfortunately, if you choose other colors, which are tan and green, the gold looks awesome on the tan. Does not look so great on the green. So if you really want the green, but you don't want the gold, sorry, you're stuck with the gold. So I get why not everyone is madly in love with the design of this. So I'm going to call this second place. I think it looks great, but I understand. The Paladin, on the other hand, there's almost nothing to be objectionable about this. It does have a bit of an upsweep in the blade, but it's not extreme Persian if you don't like that look. I don't think it's enough to bother anybody. I really love this little swoop here. I like the Bestech logo. Bestech's getting better about their logos on the blade. Also, you just have this little Bestech logo here. It does still just say Paladin in font on that side, but I'm going to forgive it for that. I'm going to call this the best looking. I think just design and aesthetic wise, I like the look of this one the best. All right. That's definitely the most objectionable category, or objective category. So that's the one I like to get out of the way first. All right, let's move on to the quality. Okay, quality wise, sorry, but the Rat's going to finish last again. It's fine. Again, it's like I'm giving it last place, but it's good. The quality for $39.95 is really good. It used to be amazing, but now as some of these newer ones are coming out, now it's just really good. It doesn't blow me away like it used to. Like, I hadn't actually carried this in quite a long time, and when I got it out and comparing it to these other two quality wise, I'm just like, it just doesn't stack up. It's this is only $2.50 more, and the quality on that is outstanding. And this is fine. It is plastic handles. That's more on the value kind of side of things, but the blade centering's not perfect, and I've never managed to get it that way. It's good, but it's not perfect. Where on the other hand, these two are excellent quality wise. I'm gonna say the Bestech is second best, because there's not, again, nothing really wrong with it, but it just doesn't feel quite as nice as the Civivi does. The Civivi has much nicer hardware. Just the fit and finish, it feels more expensive in my hand. It feels nearly as nice as any other of the more expensive, the $140, $150, G10 Wii's. It feels just as nice. It's made in the same place, so that makes sense. just, you know, more chamfering, little things like that that the Bestech doesn't quite have. So, got to call third place or second place for the Bestech, first place for the Civivi in that category. Okay, ergonomics. This one kind of surprised me. Again, I hadn't had the rat in my hand for a long time. I picked up these other two, just assuming they were going to be better ergonomically than the rat, but you know what? They're not. I'm going to call it a tie for these two for second place, because my personal hands, the only hands that I have very long fingers, skinny but very long fingers. This probably fits me the best, but it does have the finger grooves that aren't going to match up with everybody, and you can feel that pocket clip just a little bit, not much. The jimping is a bit too short. It should go up farther. It has its flaws, but it's, for my hands, it might be the best one. The Paladin, I think, would fit more people than me, but again, you can feel the pocket clip. The jimping's much better. Has no forward choil like you have in the Praxis, which is really nice. I do really like having the forward choil for sure, but not everybody's in love with that. But this has a bit more, just some of the edges aren't chamfered as nice, things like that, and you can kind of feel that. So I'm going to call these two tied for second, and I think the rat is going to fit everybody. And that's why I'm giving it the win. This is just a knife that fits everybody's hand really well. There's no hot spots. This, as much as this looks weird with the blade coming up like this, it is a nice place to rest your thumb. It's ergonomics, I gotta give to the rat. And I wasn't expecting to do that, but it is just when I put it in my hand, it feels like an old friend. And again, I haven't carried this in a long time, and still, I was like, wow, this is... I remembered why everybody loves these things. They fit in the hand so well. So, win, tied for second. Carry. Okay, this is another complicated one. I'm going to close these up for this. So, I'm going to give everybody's advantages and disadvantages, and then we will say what order they finished in. The Bestech's advantages. It's not very tall at all in the pocket. So let's do a little measurement here. It's just getting just a little over an inch if you don't count the flipper tab. So it's pretty thin in the pocket. Disadvantages, this flipper tab is the most protrusive of any of these. So the rat doesn't have one at all. It is nicely chamfered, all that stuff. It's not sharp or anything, but it does stick out a little bit farther than the Praxis. And no deep carry pocket clip. So that's its advantages and disadvantages. Praxis, lovely deep carry pocket clip, nicely angled to make this knife feel as small as they could. The flipper tab, a little bit shorter, also nicely chamfered, all that stuff, but it is very tall. You're looking at 1.5 inches. So that's its advantages and disadvantages. And it is also right hand, left hand. The Bestech is right hand tip up only. This is right hand, left hand tip up. The Ontario, no deep carry pocket clip, big disadvantage, but it is right hand, left hand, tip up, tip down, 4-way carry, and super slim. So almost as slim as the Paladin is. So quite to my surprise, even though it's 1/2 ounce heavier, I'm going to say carry-wise, the Rat Model 1, just because you get more choices. I'm going to say second place to the Praxis because of the nice deep carry clip. I'm going to say third place to the Paladin because it's got a little bit of a pocket pecker and no deep carry clip and right hand only. So hopefully I've over-explained that enough. Now let's talk about deployment. This one was not a hard one to decide. If you guys saw the review of the Praxis, I went on and on and on about the deployment. It is outstanding. The detent is perfect. The bearings, they're not ceramic. It's running on stainless, where you're running on ceramics on the Paladin and just bushings on the Rat. But still, it's just so good. Detent is just so perfect. Whips right out, slams right shut. It's just, in this price range for $42.50, you're not going to find a knife that's more fun to fiddle with than a Civivi. It's not just this. I also have another one of their models, the Backlash. It's just as nice. It's just as smooth. It's just as good. Pretty clear win for the Praxis on that. Second place, it's got to go to the Paladin. It's running on ceramics, but they're not as smooth as the stainless. And I've torn both these apart and given them the same kind of loving treatment. And I just can't get the Paladin to be quite as smooth and fluid as the Civivi is. The detent's also really good. It's 95% as good, but it's just got a bit kind of grittier sort of feel, and I've never been able to get rid of that. Now, the Rat runs on bushings. You knew it was going to finish third. It is the best deploying bushing knife that I've ever used. You look at bronze bushings in there. I do believe there's some Teflon spacers in there, but I don't remember correctly. But it is super smooth for a bushing knife, but it's a knife on bushings fighting against it. It brought a metaphorical knife, which is itself, to a gunfight, which isn't here. But you know what I mean. It wasn't going to win this, but it's still really good. It still snaps right out. It has nothing to be ashamed of. It makes the most satisfying noise of any of these, but it's and it is a fun, snappy thing, but it's not quite as much fun to mess around with as these other two are. Now, value. This is probably the most controversial one. I don't think the winner's controversial. $42.50. You're getting the best quality in the Civivi. It comes in a nice box with a nice little zipper pouch and all that stuff. It's made in that same factory as much more expensive knives, and you can totally tell it. The little just details are so much nicer. This feels like a much more expensive knife than $42. If we would have sold this thing for $69, I think all of us in the knife world would still be raving about it just as much. But they didn't. They made it $42.50, and that's just outstanding. It's impossible to beat value-wise. It just is. The Bestech comes close at $52, but that's not the one I'm going to give second place to. I'm actually going to give second place to the venerable old Rat Model 1 and D2. It's $39.95. It's $13 cheaper than the Bestech. It doesn't have all the flashbang features that the Bestech has. It's not as good looking. It's you're looking at plastic instead of G10. It's running on bushings instead of bearings. Everything about the stats wants you to say, does this have $13 more in features than the Rat? Yeah, but it's just so nice that this option is still available. I still think this is probably better than either of these. If you're really going to do heavy hardcore stuff, if you're going to be out in the woods, in the mud, in the sand, chopping stuff up, I'd still probably pick this over either of them, even though by the scores, as you'll see here at the end, it isn't as good as either of these. But it still has its purpose, and I think value-wise, you're getting a whole lot for a Rat Model 1 and D2. So first, second, third. Where does that leave our scores? It leaves our scores... We'll put them in order. You have the Civivi Praxis winning with 17 points, the Paladin with 15, the Rat with 3. Or, I'm sorry, 13. God, 3 would have been really bad. That was an awful... I feel like who was that guy who said the wrong thing at the Oscars? That's what I just feel like I just did. With 13 points. 17, 15, 13. Whew. I should cut that out, but it's kind of funny, so I'm going to leave it in. But that said, even going by those scores, I could totally see a reason to buy any of these over the other. And that's what's so great about the budget knife market right now. We have so many choices. Yes, I think the Civivi is the best knife of these three. But maybe you don't like that 9CR18. Maybe that is just a disqualifying thing for you. I disagree with you, but I understand that. All right. Then you got the Bestech. Bestech's got your D2 that you want. It's still a good value. It's still a great knife. Go with that one. But you think, no, I don't want bearings. I'm out in the bush. I'm actually doing things. I want to run on bronze washers because they're easier to take care of. They're not going to gunk up. You got the D2. You got the R1 D2. I'm so used to saying R2 D2. The other the smaller version of this. There is a valid argument for any of these. But my scoring goes 1, 2, 3. and pretty equal distance between the three of them. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This is getting to be kind of a long video, but the three ways usually are. I know you guys are going to comment down below and disagree with me, and that's fine. This is just one guy's opinion. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Such a great time to be buying budget knives. I've been Brian. Have a good one.